Hi. Welcome everyone to the new year 2026, and you know what that means? That's right, Dylos did not make their 2025 release window promise. Womp womp. No, of course, it means even more NFT garbage. They just keep making them. But hey, new year, new me, that's what I always say. Except for maybe the suit. What? Oh, don't give me that. PNG suits are expensive. I can't afford that. Don't be silly. But anyways, I hope you've all been enjoying the new year, or at least hanging in there. Hopefully you get some enjoyment out of this video. What's this video about, I hear you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. Welcome back everyone to another episode of I try to play all the NFT games on Steam so you don't have to. The first episode of the new year. So let's get to the first game for this episode. Gameplay. Welcome to Undeads. Well, more like welcome back to Undeads, because I actually covered this game a few episodes ago, back when it still looked like this. But the game actually released back in December, although I only found out about it recently, and let me tell you, it's probably the biggest surprise of the year. An NFT game actually releasing. Crazy stuff. Not only that, it released as a full, complete game. Not an early access or anything, but as a complete title. So everything you're seeing right now is the game that developers, Sezual Private Limited, thought was good enough to release. An NFT game, Sezual managed to secure $6.2 million in seed funding in order to develop. And oh boy, is this game complete garbage. It plays exactly how it looks. Terribly. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Before we do a shallow dive into this puddle of a game, I wanted to talk about a couple new developments in Undeads. So let's take a step back into the store page. Now the Undead store page has had a bit of a facelift. Look at that, there's an actual gameplay trailer, pictures that are features that aren't even in the game yet, actual GIFs and text graphics. Dare I say they put some effort into this. They especially put a ton of effort into botting their review score. 237 reviews, 84% being positive. And you can tell they're bots because all of the positive ones have a single review, are level 0, every single one having played the exact same games with similar times in each, and all of whom were created at the same time, 17th of October, 2024. It's pretty wild. All of their played games have a little over 1.4 thousand hours played each, except for Undeads. That's a total of over 14,000 hours. There's only 8,760 hours in a year, so clearly these guys are total gamers with a capital G. But if you remove all of the botted reviews, what you're left with are all the negative reviews, which are made by actual human users, with lots of games and several reviews under their belt. But my favorite part of this whole store page facelift is this line right here. Pure gameplay, no generative AI, no blockchain, no NFTs, no crypto. Which immediately I think doth protest too much. Like, aside from the NFT and crypto stuff, generative AI wasn't even in question. At least not when I last covered it. So where did that come from? Well, I'll cover that in a little bit, but no blockchain, NFT, or crypto? You know what? Big if true. If they actually decided to move away from that garbage, then I would totally see them in a slightly more positive light. Good for them. I mean, hey, if you visit their website, all references to NFTs and crypto have been removed. Hooray! A rare W, I hear you saying. Oh, but you can't fool me, Sezual Private Limited, you sneaky cunts. I still have your actual URL saved from when I last covered Undeads, and it's filled to the brim with your crypto coin and NFTs. You just made an entirely new one just to hide it all. Clever girl. To be honest, if they didn't say anything, most people would have waved this off as just another terrible game, but having this line there would just end up making people more curious, which I find pretty funny. So no, they're still in the crypto market, and this is still an NFT game. Anyways, as for the generative AI stuff, once again, most people weren't even questioning that, but the fact they felt the need to mention it made me curious. So I took a quick look at their Twitter, and it is filled with terrible generative AI ads. Are these ads for the game? Which were posted by the devs.
Show you what's happening.
god, it looks awful. But that's not all. If you scroll down to the bottom of the Steam store page, you get another generative AI disclosure. This was only used to create the game trailer. What? But there's no generative AI here, what are they talking about? I hear you asking. Well, not now there isn't. You see, shortly after release, there was an extra trailer on Steam. They took it down for whatever reason, but left a disclaimer. Unfortunately, I can't get the Wayback Machine to work on it, but it was there, and I saw it briefly. But luckily for you, they still have it on their YouTube channel. 1 million plus views, 48 thumbs up, and only 24 comments? Seems legit, totally not bothered at all. But here it is, enjoy.
A lot of time has passed since the apocalypse began.
The world has fallen apart, and only zombies and ruins remain where life once was.
You're one of the last.
People no longer unite to survive.
Everyone is on their own, wandering through the ruins, trying to find their place in this destroyed world. Some zombies still remember.
Yeah, when I first saw that trailer, my jaw dropped. It's so bad. I actually had a bit of fun watching though, because I played a little game where I would try and find all of the changes the AI would do to this character throughout the trailer. Definitely more fun than the actual game itself. But I mean, come on. These guys raised, scammed, whatever, over 6 million just in seed funding alone, and probably even more with NFT and crypto sales. They really couldn't spend a fraction of the cost on hiring literally anyone. Like, it is genuinely awful, this trailer. But that's all I have to say. On to the game. When you start, you're immediately given 2 achievements. Cool, I guess. But you start off with 2 characters, a human and a zombie. Are there any differences to them, aside from stats? No. They play the exact same, so this gameplay feature where characters have unique abilities and combat styles, a lie. We got an equipment tab starting off with a shoddy, pistol, some melee weapons and some ammo, a storage tab with a market tab to buy some stuff, and shop, which is different from the market, which has more stuff like these automatic drones that you can buy with the premium currency, so hooray, pay to win. Love how the cheapest drone costs just slightly more than what you would start off with. The description of these weapons are also weird to say the least, like the most common metal axe, often used as a weapon of crime. Is that true? The most important thing is that this weapon can shoot. What is certain is that it can shoot. The most important thing is that it can shoot. Guys, there isn't that many weapons. At least try a little bit on the description. We also got a host of characters here. You got your favorites like Commander Maxwell Steele, Iron, Sentinel Alex, King Arthur, and Futuristic. Futuristic, my favorite character. And you can buy these characters with the 2 currencies. These characters are not just skins, by the way, they have different stats. This 300 premium currency King Arthur one has double the stats of the base characters. Geez, that is some insane pay to win. I can only assume that maybe it has lower resistances, but you won't know until you buy it, which I am not going to do. And finally, we have currencies. Golden spheres, which these are not, I consider them more cylindrical, the icons of which are of a computer chip. You know what? Every day's a school day. You learn something new every day. Don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And necro shards, which you can tell are necro because they're purple, and square, which the icon is not. And they're also called hard when you go to buy them. I'm getting a lot of mixed signals here, I don't know. Anyways, I fiddle around with the game settings, and under gameplay you got mouse rotation speed and key rotation speed, and that's it. Under graphics you got resolution, a graphics quality slider, FPS limit, let's just put that to 120 for the recording, and fogged VFX. That's all. I mean, I'll give them a point. The graphics slider actually does something, so that's cool. And I'll give them another point for the volume too. 1, there's actually a master volume slider, and 2, it defaulted to 5 instead of maxed. Look, I'll take what I can get with these NFT games. Finally, time for a match. I choose Zombie Man Scout Travis Bones and click play. Only had to wait a minute and a half, not too bad, and here it is, in all of its barely 30 FPS glory. We got basic WASD movement, Q, E or middle mouse for camera rotation, and some hotkeys. We got some arbitrary survival meters we need to babysit, and it starts draining immediately, so I guess we should get a move on. I look at the map and it's kinda big I guess, but I'm not too sure what my objective is, so I just wander around. I see an enemy and start blasting. Right click to aim and left click to shoot. But it's one of those games where you need to aim in order to attack, including melee. Also love the stutter, really adds to the immersion. I noticed there are 30 players in this lobby. Damn, that's impressive. Didn't think this game could get that many players. Oh. Okay. Death Hunter, Mystic Reaper, Steel Hunter, Brungus McDungus. One of these things is not like the other. It's me. I'm the odd one out, since every single one of these players are just bots. Either that or every single NFT bro is edgy as hell, which I could totally believe. Anyways, I kill some more zombies and get some loot. They drop a lot of stuff, considering this is supposed to be a survival game. But before I can get my loot, I get attacked by a bot. Hey, get out of here, I'm trying to loot. You know, my favorite part of this double-barreled shotgun is that the reload animation is of a pump-action shotgun, and that you seemingly load in 4 shells in the double barrels. But take a look at this sick combat! Brutal PvP battles, tactics, precision, and timing. See you later, Shadowblade, one word. Time for my spot. Oh damn, another one! But he's no match for double-barrel, pump-action, quad-barrel shotgun, hell yeah! This game plays like shit. My survival meters start getting pretty low, so gotta eat something. No animation plays when you eat or drink or heal, it's all instant. Interesting choice I suppose. Other survival games you need to stop and take time to eat or heal as part of the strategy and tactical aspect, but hey, you do you, Undeads. Anyways, time for my loot. The guy was holding a funky looking green melee weapon. I wonder if it's any good. Ow. I just get a steel shovel, not his one. Okay, cool. Back to wandering, I guess. Something I also noticed is that, according to the Steam page, weapons have durability. No they don't. Unless the durability meter is invisible, my shotgun which I used for the entire match had no signs of durability loss. Even on the stat page of the weapons, there's no durability stat, but who knows. I look at the map and... There's a shrinking circle. Hold on, is this game a battle royale? I thought it was an extraction shooter. I took a look at the store page again and they didn't mention Undeads being a battle royale except for in the tags. To be fair, they don't mention any extractioning either. They just say it's a PvP, PvE, top-down shooter. I seriously thought this was an extraction shooter, my bad. But I guess my goal is clear. Make my way to the center and kill everyone else. I make my way to the city and find a ton of loot along the way. Like I am, stocked up on food, drinks, and healing. Is this normal for a survival shooter battle royale? I don't play these games that much, so feel free to chime in. But I continue towards the city, and I don't see anyone else other than these trash mobs. There's not really any reason to loot, I am completely full. I wander some more and realize, wait a minute, I'm the only one left. Shouldn't the match have ended by now? Everyone else is dead. Is there an extraction point? What do I do now? Don't tell me I need to wait out the timer every single time. That's dumb. Well, I don't want to wait here, so let's go kill some zombies. Oh damn, look at this tech. Let me get in that, jeez. I find some more zombies and the tutorial decides now is the perfect time to progress and block my screen. I very quickly realize the shotgun has a major flaw. There's no penetration, not even a little bit. It can only attack one enemy at a time, which is stupid. Hell, now that I think about it, it has no stopping power either, enemies just power through it. Also, it really doesn't do that much damage at all, a full shotgun point blank is only a quarter of their health. I end up dying and lose all my stuff, and not a single player or bot is left. This is certainly a game. Well, I lost the shoddy, but not the character at least. Alright. Since I get so much loot during a match, I decided to load into another one naked. Also, I realized there's no armor parts in this game, just weapons, not even weapon attachments, just weapons. Remember, this is a fully released game. I clicked play, and I only had to wait 40 seconds this time. Guess they realized that I'm the only one stupid enough to play and load into a match. Oh, we are so back, baby. Broken NFT game, let's fucking go! Ahem. Title. Time is over. Do you want to retry? I don't know, man. The timer looks like it's working fine to me. The map is gone, but my survival bars are still going down. Clearly, I am still there. In fact, I continue to wait and the bots start killing each other. So there is a match playing, but I guess I'm not allowed to play? Is this a mercy? Should I be grateful I don't have to play anymore? I decided to wait it out because I wanted to see what happens at the end of a match. My survival meters empty out and I start draining health. Guess I'll die. But my HP stays at 1, sometimes going back to 2. Eventually the zone closes in. You are in the death zone. Run to a safety place. The zone doesn't kill me immediately, but a zombie does, and that's it. Defeat. I continue waiting and realize the mouse cursor wasn't being recorded in OBS. Whoops. But in the last 30 seconds, you get hit with a ticking noise, which is so much louder than anything else in the game. But here it is. What's the end screen gonna look like? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0! 0! Okay. Well, nothing happens. This game is dumb. Okay, one last try. I buy a new character, Space Knight, one word, which has the exact same stats as the base human, but with slightly different resistances, and try again. 40-second wait time, and... well, I can see the map this time, so that's an improvement. Is that an improvement? I don't think it is. But that's Undeads. It barely functions, and when it does, it fucking sucks. This game is 10 gigabytes. How does ultra textures that terrible looking add up to 10 gigabytes? They raised $6 million! Shutdown! You got it! Shutdown is a top-down horde shooter, think Alien Swarm. It doesn't look the worst, it looks fairly average, which, don't get me wrong, is definitely a compliment. Shutdown isn't out yet, is what I would say if I were an NFT bro hopped up on some copium. But Shutdown, I'm pretty sure, has been shut down. Doesn't exist anymore. There's no planned release date. I mean, the store page itself was the absolute bare minimum. A single paragraph on the description with vague features. Not a single news post or update. The discussions have 3 users asking for any sort of developer update with no one responding. Their website link is dead. Their last YouTube video was over a year ago. The Discord link on Steam has expired. You need to go on Twitter to find their new Discord, which honestly isn't any better. After verifying my account, it seems to put me on a channel that's not listed anywhere on the left, but it does look like it has activity. But when I try to add it, nothing happens, and retrying does nothing. Did they delete it? Who knows? But of the available channels, no activity for over a year. So yeah. Back to the Shutdown Twitter, their last post was last year on the 25th of March, which, hey, I'll give them a point. The posts are actually mostly about their abandoned game. Well, until you scroll down a little bit, then you start getting into the crypto garbage. Trying to find any articles or reviews on the game is pretty damn hard. In fact, the only review I found for Shutdown gave it a pretty low score, which is pretty hilarious. Although this reviewer is kinda like the opposite of IGN, where an 8 out of 10 is considered average. This guy wrote, Shutdown still offers an enjoyable experience and is still worth trying if you're a fan of wave survival games. 5 out of 10. Honestly, pretty generous of them. But of course, getting an actual game out is not really in the realm for NFT developers. No, the actual reason for announcing a crypto game is, of course, NFTs. You can find them on OpenSea, and it's these AI-generated Dead Space-looking armor suits, which the fact it's so obviously AI-generated and yet there are still duplicates and are so lazily similar to one another is hilarious. Unique series my ass. Not even a single offer anymore, which makes sense since the game is effectively dead in the water. But the most expensive of these NFTs go for around $60 USD, or around 2 gallons, don't know how much that is, I don't use Imperial, of elephant poop. What? Don't look at me, I'm not the one selling it, but I guarantee you'll have more uses for elephant poop than an NFT, like throwing them at NFT bros and claiming self-defense. uses. And of course, a crypto coin, which they didn't make themselves, they're just using some other token called Fuse, which is doing amazingly poorly. What is that? Less than half of a cent? Damn, Shutdown, you really know how to pick 'em. But that is all and ever will be on Shutdown, an oh-so common rug pull. Pax Autocratica, a roguelite FPS sci-fi colony sim, an actual decent one too, but since there is a chance some of you may have heard of this game or maybe even be disappointed this game is on the list, let me just preface this by saying Pax Autocratica itself won't overtly have NFTs anymore. But with that said, Multiverse, the developers, haven't shied away from crypto or NFTs, they've just moved the integration somewhere else. And that's why Pax Autocratica is in the video. One, it's in the curator list for NFT and blockchain games, which is, let me just say, not made or maintained by me. It was just a random list I found a while ago. And two, because Pax Autocratica, or the previous incarnation of it, originally was planned to be an NFT game. And that's what I want to talk about today. So, Pax Autocratica initially had a different title and was planned to be a completely different type of game too. Originally, it was called EFAS, or Earth from Another Sun, and it was going to be a play-to-earn, open galaxy, looter shooter, space strategy sim, MMO. Yes, EFAS was going to be the next Star Citizen. Well, not really, but that's how different it was going to be compared to Pax Autocratica. The EFAS trailers didn't actually look too bad gameplay-wise. Graphically, it looked a little rough, but it looked like a competent game. However, an MMO with so many different features promising the world from a relatively unknown developer, kind of a red flag. And of course, they also went full speed ahead on all things crypto and NFTs. They released 2 NFT collections which are still available to this day. The EFAS Citizen Passports, with the highest price being sold for 120 gallons of elephant poop, and these EFAS Companions, which are these bug alien creatures with the most expensive going for around 289 gallons of elephant poop. They have an entire ecosystem called the EFAS ecosystem, which is also active to this day, promoting NFT garbage, other NFT games like Engines of Fury and Wilder World, and their respective crypto scam coins, Fury and Wild, which is, yeah, exactly what you would expect. Look at that fall off, my god. What is that, a 1/10 of a cent? You love to see it. But hey, at least Wildcoin is doing a whole 30 times better, sitting at an incredible 3 whole cents. Wow. Wow. But this hasn't stopped the EFAS ecosystem Twitter account from shilling it out though. Their ecosystem, by the way, is being hosted on Solana's blockchain, which they have a vested partnership with. Alongside Lightspeed and Alameda Research, they raised 4.5 million in seed funding for EFAS, which does seem like a lot, but not for an MMO. Especially for something as ambitious as EFAS, a large-scale 24/7 persistent open galaxy MMO. Which is probably why, after 3 years of development on the 20th of June 2025, which is pretty recent, EFAS decided to change course completely. There were 2 articles written, one on Medium and one on Steam. The Steam post is largely the same as the Medium post, talking about the game's name, not reflecting the game's tone, mechanics, or narratives, what systems are going to be different, and what to expect. But the Steam post, however, completely omits the crypto and NFT side. In the Medium post, Multiverse acknowledges that crypto is taboo for traditional players, hinders mass adoption, and restricts gameplay design. Yeah, no shit, but they really make it sound like it's the wider gaming community's fault for crypto not being good, rather than them realizing, hey, NFTs suck and are bad. It feels more like they're saying, are we wrong? No, it's the players that are wrong, and we need money. Stat. Anyways, because crypto is bad for publicity, obviously they decided to remove in-game crypto and NFT, keyword here being in-game, because in the very next paragraph, they assure everyone this isn't a retreat, it's a strategic shift. We're keeping crypto for where it matters and works best, in the trash. Yeah, I wish. No. The ecosystem around the game, our studio. So the devs are still very much open to crypto granting governance powers, creator powers, ecosystem events, NFTs. All of this having been completely omitted from the Steam post, where their game is being hosted. Now obviously, because it is the Steam version, it might not have been relevant since crypto is banned there, until you remember that EFAS was always going to be an NFT MMO, and the only people investing in this game were crypto bros. Why not mention it for those people? I mean, to even get access to the alpha or beta or whatever, you needed to buy an NFT pack from their website. Look, what I'm getting at is that it really seems like the Pax Autocratica devs, when they realized crypto wasn't making them money and the game was falling apart, they decided to sneakily sweep it all under the rug. The same rug I imagine they pulled from underneath all their investors. Now on their Discord they have, in their FAQs, tried some damage control by preemptively answering the question of it being a scam by promising ecosystem rewards, tokens, aka crypto coins, and they are at least giving people who bought into EFAS free access to the Pax Autocratica game, which by the way is going to be a paid game. I haven't actually talked about it yet, but Pax Autocratica isn't actually released yet. It's coming to early access in 3 months on the 7th of May, but we do get a demo, which after all that preamble, let's finally get into it. Now this is a pretty hefty demo, it's 20 gigabytes, but you can probably expect a couple of hours worth of game, which is not too bad for a demo. I personally got about 2 or so hours out of it. When we begin, we're given an official state directive, obviously playing into the autocracy narrative of the game, with indoctrination and state-approved routine, etc. Although some of the text on the page is not properly aligned with the slant of the page, come on guys, step it up. Nah, I'm just kidding. We get to the main menu and already the vibes are infinitely better than so many of the NFT games I've played. Hey guys, editor me here. When I was reviewing the footage, I noticed that the game looked extremely faded for some reason, because apparently Windows decided to turn on HDR with default settings. I usually have it turned off and I'm sure with the right settings HDR would look much better, but I'm lazy and I'm used to SDR, so sorry for the game looking the way it does. I should have known something was off when I saw the loading screen. Even while I was playing, I thought it looked weird. Anyway, sorry about that. Damn you, Windows 11. When you play, you're given a host of difficulties from 2 easier modes to 2 harder modes, each increasing the enemy stats but also giving you better rewards, which is cool. I always like it when you get some sort of extra incentive to playing a higher difficulty. And there's a couple more plus a custom one planned in the future. Now I will say beforehand, if you notice any pictures looking odd, Pax Autocratica does unfortunately use AI generated content, as seen with their disclosure, and trust me, it is obvious. However, they do plan on reworking or replacing all the AI assets before launch, which I hope they keep to their word. It's always weird to read disclosures like this because they claim to have artists already. If you're hiring actual artists, why exactly do you need to use AI generated images? Just use your artists. You're already paying them. Sorry about that, rant over. But also another thing, they apparently use music from Artlist, which apparently got another content creator copyright struck when they put it in a video, so you probably won't get to hear the music in this game in this video. And while Artlist is heavily invested in AI generation, their music at least isn't AI generated as of right now, I think. It seems to only apply to videos, images, and voiceovers for now. Okay, with that out of the way, let's continue to our tutorial. We start in a small office with an old dude staring down at us, and immediately I need to change sensitivity. Surprisingly, it's too slow. Normally, games make my sensitivity too high. There we go. As for movement, it seems fine. Anyways, I talk to the old dude. He is the father of the people, the supreme leader, head honcho, etc. He asks us for verification and we get to choose our name. A name that will strike fear in the hearts of all that oppose me. Derpy McDerperson. Perfect. He further tells us that some tyrant dude died in a nearby solar system and it's basically up for grabs. And he's tasked us to build a base there, deal with the fractured factions, and become the next next leader of that system. We get attacked by the Ursuline faction and go to our first combat section. We start with a pistol. Left click to shoot, right is alt fire, not aim, only certain weapons aim in. R reload, F melee, control dash, which is also under a stamina-like system. This bar drains every time you dash, but you can use it multiple times. We got number keys for items, and away we go. The gunplay honestly feels alright, but if you noticed a bit of stutter just now, yeah, That's kind of an issue with this demo, there's a lot of stutter. Don't get me wrong, when it works, it can handle a consistent 120 frames, but it can get pretty bad. You'll definitely see that later. Before we continue though, gotta inspect their forklifts. Tines on the ground, good. I am forklift certified, you know, gotta make sure. Anyways, next wave we get to see some NPC allies. Luckily there's no friendly fire and kill the enemies with ease. Now remember, this is a roguelite, so at the end of each section we'll get a power up for the rest of the run. You know, roguelite stuff. After we pick one, we get our boss battle. They have some new moves, but it's nothing too difficult, and once we beat him, that's the end of the run. We go back to our office and are told to pick a flag icon. I pick a crow in a spiky circle, a red background, flip the crow upside down, and then we pick a location. Only one choice for now, the wasteland, and away we go. Now we get to the other part of the game, the base building colony sim. I'll take this opportunity to tell you, loading into the base is extremely slow. Every single time you do this, i.e. every time you finish a run, it hangs on the loading screen for over a minute. It's real bad. It's especially bad later on when you have people working and stuff is happening. Not only does it take a minute to load in, but for a few minutes after, the game will hang and stutter like crazy. They really need to fix that. Anyways, when we load in, we get some more controls. In this base building section, we can fly, so that's neat. We get introduced to a robot companion who is also our first worker. Workers you can assign different jobs around the map like chopping wood, although I wouldn't really call it chopping, more like vacuuming, but that's what they're calling it, so. Mining ore, gathering plants, or when you get facilities up and running, assign them to those. If you've played games like Power World, it's basically that. Each worker also has different efficiencies for every activity. For example, our robot worker is pretty good at everything, but especially good at mining and logging. Eventually, you'll have to deal with food, morale, shelter, and allowance of each worker. For now, we're tasked with repairing the command center. Now, whatever your worker can do, you can also do, which you're going to need to do in the beginning, once again much like Power World. And as of right now, you don't need to craft any tools to do any of that, you can just do it. I don't know if your character will ever get more efficient, but I'm sure later on all the busy work will be relegated to your loyal workers. Now then, once we've repaired our command center, we have access to research. Here is where we get new technologies and new buildings, etc. Essentially, this whole beginning section is to get a basic storage system going. When you go into build mode, your character immediately flies up, which is nice. It makes building much easier, but I will say, unless it changes in the future, the building aspect is not super in-depth. You can't build roads or anything, and foundation is automatically built for you, although you can research stairs and foundations on their own later. It's more casual in nature, which is fine by me. But like I said, it may get expanded in the future. Once you set a building down, you obviously need to construct it. Nearby workers will prioritize it, and once it's built, they will go back to whatever job they were doing. We build some more things like a resource transfer station. Here is where you can assign someone to act as a pack mule, collecting resources on the ground and putting it in here. Unfortunately, you still need to manually collect everything in here to put it in the warehouse to actually have it count. Hopefully in the future, you'll be able to automate that. And we also build a weapons research building where you can make, well, weapons from blueprints you collect in a run. Next, we're told to actually do a run. We pick a ship that allows room for extra NPC teammates plus a vehicle, which I don't think is available yet. You pick a system which only Alicia is available and begin a run. Now the goal of a run is to basically explore the area with your ship and do objectives to fill up the unification meter. Once this fills up to 100%, you fight the area boss, and presumably beating them wins you the run. Unfortunately, you can't do that in the demo. Anyways, while you're moving around, this hazard bar fills up. If you've played games like Risk of Rain 2, you'll be familiar with it. Basically, every time it fills up, the difficulty increases, which means enemy health and damage increases. Now this bar only fills up when you're moving, so there's some strategy there on how you go about exploring. Later on, you'll be able to build a shipyard that lets you research passive abilities to decrease the rate the hazard bar fills, so that's cool. Our goal for this one is to just get 10% progress, so let's get to it. Exploring reveals enemy outposts and abandoned caches, each increasing the bar varying amounts. Obviously, doing the combat ones increase it the most. Combat objectives in the demo are pretty limited. Usually it's just kill a certain amount of enemies, kill the elite enemy, or capture an objective. I'm sure it will get added to later. We also got a new weapon, dual pistols, where the alt fire is aim, and clean up the area. Like with the tutorial, at the end of a section, you get a choice of a power-up, and also are rewarded with resources like money or materials. Abandoned caches have a small timing minigame, but doing it right gets you rewards. Here I got a blueprint. With that, we get 10%, and get a one-time milestone reward, 2 recruits. These recruits immediately go to our base, so we don't have to worry about losing them if we die in a run. At this point, you can just return to base, but I do some more outposts. There is a decent amount of variety in the environment for a demo, but you will definitely start to see some repeats. There's also a fair few amount of enemy types too, like shieldmen, gunners, shotgunners, snipers, and a couple more. That said, the enemy AI as of right now is pretty simple. They basically just run to you, even if they have guns. It is a demo, so I'm not too fussed. But the difficulty of this game right now is simply the hazard bar, because it does increase the health and damage by a fair amount each time it fills. Also, the elite enemies are just bigger variants of the normal mobs, but they do have some unique attacks like this weird bullet hell circle attack. Anyways, I head back to base, and like I said before, it takes a long time to load. But once we load in, we get our run results, and some experience which levels us up. We get an attribute and skill point. In order to use the skill point, we have to build a profession building. But before we do that, I officially recruit the 2 soldiers and put them to work. And oh, they're sleeping. Yeah, so top left is the day-night cycle, and you know, people tend to sleep at night. Anyways, they're sleeping on the floor because we need to build barracks for them to sleep in. So for this section, I just build a bunch of stuff. A victory square, which introduces directives that we can research to apply to work areas to do an effect. The only one we have access to in the demo is high pressure labor, that puts the fear of God to the workers in that facility. Fear being a mechanic where the higher it is, the less likely for strikes and protests, but increasing productivity. We build the profession bureau so we can apply our skill point into a number of skill trees, which I believe are active all the time. It's just grouped up into different focuses. I'm not too sure. Barracks for our wage slaves, a food hall for them to eat at, and kitchen to make meals. After all that, I do another run, where I remember to actually apply the attribute point. We got 4 stats to put them in: dex for damage, energy for shields, stamina for health, and mobility for speed. I go for damage. Our next goal is to reach 33%, so that's what I do. I should also mention that certain objectives can only be done once you reach certain unification milestones. It can get pretty annoying when you're looking for objectives watching the hazard index go up, only to find areas requiring 33% just to do. Anyways, we get a new weapon to play with, an assault rifle, also with an alt fire to aim, and works how you'd expect. One of the areas does give you a chest, so it is possible to find chests in an objective, but it's very rare. And also, here's a show of the enemy AI. These guys are all supposed to be snipers. Yeah, they just kind of walk to you. They don't even try to run if you get close, but demo, early access, you know. At 33%, we get a milestone event. The AI generated image of coordinator Raya or Rhea asks for help, and we get our third objective type, area capture. Here we have some NPC allies, and we have to make our way to the objective A and capture it. The stage gives us special weapons too, a grenade launcher to deal with the tanks. You can't carry it with you. Once you swap weapons, you drop it. But once you reach the objective, you need to destroy the tower and stay in the area for a minute while waves of enemies rush you. If you've played Destiny 1 or Destiny 2, you should be all too familiar with this. Once we've finished the objective, we can actually go into the mercenary camp and get some new recruits, and that's it. Now, our new objective is to basically beat the area boss, but that isn't available in the demo, so I just head back, and you know what that means? Yep, another minute of loading. Here though, you can see just how bad it gets when you have a base filled with stuff. It's real bad. Anyways, I build some more barracks, reassign everyone, craft a bow and shotgun, watch a guy be a Death Stranding, and find out this game has a capturing mechanic like Palworld. And I do mean like Palworld. It even does the whole capturing circle with a percentage in the middle thing. Not that I'm complaining or anything, I just found it funny. In order for it to work though, you also need to build a prison. I also built an armory so I can get some armor, and we got 3 sets to choose from damage reduction, damage increase, or your soldiers being more useful. I picked damage up, and do my final run for the video. I find a trading post which has a blueprint and materials that you can also visit. There isn't really any reason to do so yet. There's a single person in it, but she doesn't sell anything. You can, however, sell stuff to her for some cash. Anyways, I try out the new bow. I don't figure it out now, but the alt fire changes it from a strong single shot to splitting into several in a line. It's alright, you need to pull back on it as per usual. Then of course, the shotgun, which is my weapon of choice. The alt fire brings up an energy shield as you aim, which is great for just walking up to an enemy and blasting him in the face. Infinitely better than Undeads shoddy. It does reload one at a time though. Come on guys, it's the future. I'm pretty sure we've figured out shotgun magazines by now, but yeah, still pretty satisfying. But once I reach 66%, I get a message saying that this is the current cap and that doing any more activities won't count towards the meter. However, we do get to still play the 66% milestone event, a war zone. And yeah, it's a war zone alright. In this objective, you need to destroy a massive fortress at the end of the area. It's a pretty cool event. You get accompanied by NPC allies that increases as you progress through the stage. Up to 50 NPCs, while swarms, and I mean swarms of enemies rush you. There's artillery firing at you, frame drops everywhere, you get to destroy artillery, flying tanks, basically every enemy type. It's a sight to behold, that's for sure. At the end you fight the fortress, which looks cool, but it's ultimately pretty anticlimactic as you just have to destroy the 6 legs, which is pretty easy, and that's it. But I'm sure this is just a proof of concept for now. I'm sure it'll get improved upon later. Anyways, once you beat it, you get a final message thanking you for playing, and that's it for the demo. You get kicked back to base, once again, minute-long wait time, and I check up on my prisoner. You get a few options here, which I assume is to try and convince them to become a wagey, but I fail to do so and have to try again the next day. I finish up all the research, get some new ships, which are just extra soldier slots essentially, build a treatment clinic, and that's it. That's everything. And to be honest, it's not half bad. I had fun. The gunplay has good foundation, the gameplay loop is pretty solid right now, the base building and colony mechanics seem interesting and easy to manage. Just need to fix the performance issues, but hey, that's what early access is for, right? But yeah, it's a shame that multiverse is still in crypto though, so while the game is looking good, definitely keep an eye out in case they ever decide to slowly go back to NFTs, which would be pretty dumb, but they unfortunately haven't completely ruled it out. But who knows, maybe 2026 is finally the year that NFTs die for good and we can put this garbage to rest. And that's Pax Autocratica. It's a decent space game. Oh, that's all the gameplay in the trailer? No sound or anything. Alright then. This is Elder's Grace Unchained, a completely random series of words I'm sure is a magical action RPG meets strategy, building and raiding and battling game. Jeez, ease it with the all caps guys, come on. Anyways, this battling game is, well, it is what it is. I'm not gonna do this song and dance, you've seen it all before, but Elder's Grace is most likely abandoned. It ticks almost all of the boxes of an abandonware rug pull. No updates? Check. No release date? Check. Basic Steam store page with pretty much no effort put in? Check. YouTube channel's last vid was over a year ago? Check. Steam Discord link doesn't work? Check. You'd have to dig into their Twitter to find a working link because of course you do. Discord activity is non-existent? Check. Bonus points for it looking like bot activity. Last developer activity on Discord was over a year ago? Not check, but it's getting there. Their last announcement was in April last year and it was the pausing of a Zeely Sprint, which was some Web3 make-a-living crypto garbage program. Oof, not looking too good if they're stopping even that. Website works, but last update was also over a year ago? Check. Last Twitter post over a year ago? You know it, at least for their Steam version. The Epic Games Store version, aka the NFT version's Twitter, was a bit more active, last posting in May. We only got 3 months to go before it's officially 1 year since their last post. Let's make it happen, people. It's not looking too good for MetaMonkey Inc. Yeah, I wonder how they came up with that company name. But of course, as per usual, it didn't actually stop them from churning out an NFT collection because it's the least they can do. All it is are the characters of the game, supposedly, with a card game-like frame, with the frames being the only thing different, with everything else basically looking the same. It's pretty lazy, even for NFT standards. I'm almost impressed at the laziness. The most expensive NFT goes to
Nico, my cousin! I couldn't believe it, you're here!
Nico, which is priced at around 1 gallon of elephant poop. And that's it, really. Nothing else more to say on Elder's Grace Unchained or Rise of the Mobley, depending on which version. Look, they even made 2 websites too. And here's a fun little game. Play Spot the Difference. Leave a comment below on how many you find. And that's Elder's Grace Unchained Rise of the Mobley. Just take the loss, MetaMonkey Inc. and move on. Or don't. The only people losing money here are the NFT bros, so it's not all bad. That was pretty cool, right? Welcome to Haunted Space, a space combat sci-fi horror game, don't see many of those, featuring a story-rich adventure, fast-paced dogfighting, trading, and shipcrafting, and probably most importantly of all, it no longer exists. Well, as it is right now, as of this trailer, this game no longer exists, ? It's all been redirected to another game called Hell Galaxy, although the devs, Italian Games Factory, calls it an evolution into a standalone project, which doesn't really make any sense because it operates under the Haunted Space brand and is also the main game of the Haunted Space IP. Don't worry, it's a lot stupider than it sounds. Every news post talks about how the single player experience of Haunted Space has grown into a new game, and I'm thinking, that's not how that works. If it was already a single player game to begin with, how did it turn into a different single player game? What do you mean? You guys are making the sandwich. But it all becomes clear when you consider that Haunted Space was going to primarily be an NFT game. Yeah, you can come up with your own conclusion, but I assume this is an attempt by Italian Game Studio to distance themselves away from NFTs, or at the very least try to hide their association with them, because much like the Pax Autocratica devs, they aren't done with NFTs. They just realized that if people find out about their heavy involvement into crypto gaming, people wouldn't like that. Thus, Hell Galaxy, and this shift was pretty recent too, just last year in August, which was only a month after the Pax Autocratica devs made their strategic shift. Wonder what happened in that time frame when 2 space game devs suddenly had the exact same idea to sneakily shift away from NFTs. Whatever the case, here's a TLDR. A nice, succinct timeline of events made by a user in the Steam forums. Haunted Space was announced years ago. They went radio silent and came back and announced it had become a crypto NFT scam. They changed their minds again and dropped the NFT garbage and rebranded it into Hell Galaxy. They then decided to change their mind again and do another crypto blockchain game exclusive to the Epic Game Store called Haunted Space Arena, which, as you could probably guess from the name, is a PvP game. What a mess. These guys haven't even finished developing a single game yet, and they're already starting development on new games left and right. I don't know about you guys, but I consider that a big red flag. Anyways, for now, let me walk you through the longer version timeline of events for Haunted Space so you can get an idea on everything. Don't worry though, at the end of this, I do actually play Hell Galaxy, their current game, and boy do I have some choice fucking words for that game. Alright, so Haunted Space was originally announced on the 25th of March 2021 with a reveal trailer for the Xbox Series X and S, PlayStation 5, and for PC via Steam. And then, basically nothing for about a year, with their next announcement on August 2022 being a partnership with Elixir, a Web3 platform. Oh no is right, because it means that Haunted Space had officially turned into an NFT game with Elixir featuring, and I quote, all current and future NFTs presented by Haunted Space. So contrary to the TLDR, Haunted Space seemingly was always going to be hopping on the NFT train. Haunted Space would be ready to feature on the Elixir app from Q4 2022, and if you were wondering how that went, well, let's just say Haunted Space is nowhere to be seen on Elixir's game list. Womp womp. But it didn't stop there, because 2022 would be a busy year for Italian Games Factory. September 9th saw the release of the Haunted Space Genesis Pass, a set of 5,555 NFTs priced at $115 for whitelist community members and $130 for public sale, with plans to have even more NFTs divided into assassins, dread fighters, cyborgs, alpha women, and billionaires. How much do these Genesis passes go for nowadays? Well, let's just say the top offer at the moment is 79 cents.
Ooh, that's kind of small.
On November 8th, they re-announced Haunted Space, but this time with a new caption, Raiders of the Sonic Matter, which I assume is the same game as the one announced a year prior, because they claim this game has been in development for 4 years already, and it will be the first to be released under the Haunted Space brand. Seems like a pretty important game for their brand, huh? Followed by another game called Origins, which will be a free-to-play multiplayer play-to-earn Web3 game. Then nothing for a few months, then BAM! On the 23rd of April 2023, a new post by Haunted Space titled The End of the Play-to-Earn Era. Past mistakes. The play-to-earn narrative showed us that creating a gaming economy that uses crazy rewards to attract players is not possible, and in the long term, not sustainable. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock, a toddler could have told you that, but it really seems like that maybe, just maybe, Haunted Space has finally seen the light. We are building on the ashes of the previous generation, and therefore is our moral duty to create a middle ground between the unsustainable play-to-earn games and the closed Web 2 gaming ecosystems. This is the change that the gaming industry is looking for. This is Haunted Space! PS, be ready for the next few days, a lot of hot news coming. Yeah. The next couple of posts really has them pushing hard on their vision of play to earn and how they're changing the game or whatever. They also keep pushing their Gaga token, which hasn't even launched yet, so you can tell where their priorities lied. January 2024 saw a pretty big change. Italian Games Factory has now officially rebranded as Galaxy Games, and that's it. Oh, and also that their efforts have expanded to the development of not one, not two, but multiple games. You haven't even made a single game yet. Why are you already expanding? The new games in question is the multiplayer PvP game Haunted Space Survival, now Arena, and a low-effort mobile game called Haunted Space Minigame. It's literally just asteroids. And that was their big announcement. They also promised a single-player version to release on Q1 of 2024, which obviously didn't happen, with the multiplayer version to follow within the year, which obviously didn't happen. Some more NFT garbage, and finally their new crypto coin, Gaga, because of course. Oh right, I say new because they released a token a while back called HS, but I assume was replaced by Gaga because there's no info on it. Also, not that much info on Gaga coin either, but all I can tell is that their revolutionary coin, initially going for $0.004, is now worth an incredible $0.0009.
Wow.
Then in a confusing turn of events, on February 2024, a new game would get announced that looks a lot like Haunted Space, but it's called Hell Galaxy. Who are the developers? Wait, what? Italian Games Factory? I thought they rebranded to Galaxy Games. What's going on here? Is Haunted Space and Hell Galaxy the same game? According to Twitter posts, yeah, it is, because the full title is Haunted Space Single Player Hell Galaxy. But if you look on Steam, there are two separate pages for the games, Haunted Space and Hell Galaxy, so I have no idea. Is this them preparing to do the old switcheroo? The old NFT dev special? The rug pull? I don't know. But in the following year, not much else would happen except shilling out crypto and AI tech on their Twitter. They also got into a bit of controversy on July 2025 with a Web3 content creator claiming that Haunted Space failed to pay the promised tokens with the switch to Gaga coins and shifted deadlines without warning. Galaxy Games would then put out a 10-part tweet crying that this single small-time creator, whose post only garnered 20,000 views according to this, threatened 4 years worth of work. Hey guys, Editor Me here again. While I was editing this part, something occurred to me. The tweet where they claim this little stint threatened 4 years worth of work is pretty odd, because this was posted in 2025, and if you recall, back when they first announced their single-player Haunted Space game for the second time, it was back in November 2022, where they claimed that it had already been in development for 4 years, back then. There's a 2.5-year difference between that announcement and this tweet, so should it not be around 7 years worth of development at this point? Were they not working on the game at all during this time? Well, considering all their floundering with NFTs and crypto, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, just wanted to point that out. Back to the video. And let's just say this little tantrum didn't go to plan, since people just clowned on Galaxy Games instead. This does not aim to attack anyone, but let me drop his name on the next tweet. You're making it worse than it should. Delete this thread and move on. If a single thread from a 15-year-old is endangering 4 years of work, then you guys aren't built for this. You putting it on blast gave it 100 times more attention than it would have had otherwise. A great example of how not to handle criticism. If a single thread getting 20,000 views can endanger 4 years of work, then the project deserves to die. Got a link for your marketing and PR team if they need. Honestly, if a game threatens to sue someone over a post, it turns me off more than the post itself. Oh, I almost forgot that part. They threatened, or at the very least alluded to, legal action against the creator by sending him this message with the end stating, "Our legal team cannot overlook such defamatory statement." So yeah, not exactly the best way to handle that. Now, whether or not they honored their word and eventually gave out rewards doesn't actually matter. If this is how the developer acts, it's not a good look. And about a month after the controversy and the apparent irreparable damage caused by this single user, a new post on Steam. Haunted Space has evolved into Hell Galaxy and that Haunted Space is no more. Why the change? Because it deserves its own name, even though it's the Haunted Space brand. Does it make sense? No! Was it a coincidence that they decided to essentially rebrand and merge with a completely different titled game a mere month after the controversy? I'll let you decide. But that's where we're at. We have Haunted Space, which has for some reason been renamed into Hell Galaxy. We got two developers, Italian Games Factory and Galaxy Games, who are one and the same. We got other NFT titles, Haunted Space Arena and Haunted Space Minigame, a crypto coin, and an NFT collection. I hope I covered everything. Let's finally get into the Haunted Space Hell Galaxy video game. Alright, so the game. Hell Galaxy costs 26 Australian dollars. Hell Galaxy is not worth 26 Australian dollars. In fact, even if this game were free to play, I wouldn't even tell you to check this game out. This game is probably one of the worst games I've ever played. In fact, I would have preferred it if this game just crashed on launch so I didn't have to play it. This game absolutely fucking sucks and it made me mad. Just think about that. I have played a ton of NFT games on this channel. None of them made me mad. This one did. So let me walk you through this unbelievable travesty of a video game. In the beginning, it actually starts off okay. You get this cutscene of some guy cutting you up or experimenting on you or something. It's dark and eerie, it's atmospheric, but that's mainly because the lighting is really low. You then have the garbage AI voice explaining to you the controls, which are fine.
I'll be handling your re-education. Now, start getting the hang of moving in your new body. Quick learner, good. Almost flawless motion sensitivity. Well done.
Typical spaceflight controls, nothing too bad, but unfortunately there's no way to reset or reorient your view right side up. The first person view is okay, although you can barely see anything, but if that's what you're into, the option is there, I suppose. You go through a decent tutorial that teaches you the basics of combat. You have access to different modes, aggressive for more damage, balanced, which is just neutral, and defensive, which decreases your damage in exchange for more shield regen. And there's a lock-on system that when you do, you get a lead indicator so you know where to lead your shots. Then once you're done, you go outside and you get the title drop. Not gonna lie, Hell Galaxy with the E backwards is the goofiest name I have ever heard. It sounds like a teenager coming up with an edgy title. Hell Galaxy, it's so edgy and cringy. They should have stuck with Haunted Space, to be honest. Anyways, we're introduced to the next AI voice, who sounds the complete opposite of the first AI voice.
Perform a routine check.
Ship AI 40-126. Name Homerus.
The AI will be your guiding companion, providing assistance and handling all your external communications.
Hello, Raider. I'm going to scan your mind to ensure I can assist you in the best way possible. Your only duty to the human empire as a Raider is to harvest sonic matter, the most invaluable energy source, the real treasure of Neteron. After the upgrade, we'll commence your first collection.
I don't know about you, but it was pretty jarring to hear because it's just a super generic AI voice. Now I should mention there is a disclosure on the use of AI generated voices in the store page with the excuse that they're using it for AI characters. And while I have covered another NFT game that uses AI voices in the past, Riftstorm, at the time I just kind of brushed it off as no big deal. But after thinking about it for more than a minute, I realized that that is a pretty stupid excuse, since the goal of AI generated voices is to perfectly mimic human speech and to be completely indistinguishable from them, so that rich people don't have to pay for voice actors. Commonly in media, characters that are supposed to be AI in the story are voiced with a lot more imperfections to make it clear that they're not human, but an artificial intelligence.
The emotion that shot through me when I saved your life taught me an even more valuable lesson. Where Carolyn lives in my brain.
Carolyn, delete.
Goodbye, Carolyn.
Usually this means sounding monotonous.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Putting emphasis on random parts of words, having an unnatural cadence.
I'll know the full extent of your brain function until we establish a neural link. Pilot, exercise caution.
So you can say that again.
Pilot, exercise caution.
Or just having more bleeps and bloops.
Plan for Archangel's extraction remains vague.
Should slow him down.
This unit cannot distinguish between ally and enemy.
Which is the opposite of what IRL AI bros are trying to achieve. So the reasoning of, we need an AI generated voice for a character that's an in-universe AI, kinda doesn't really make any sense. Obviously, it's just there to cut corners and save money. I mean, for God's sakes, you raised $2.4 million. I'm sure you could spare a little bit to hire a few amateur voice actors at the very least. Or if not, just do it yourselves. Reading lines monotonously is not that hard to do. Most people do this by accident when they aren't used to reading from a script. It's better than using unethical AI generated garbage. I mean, do these guys think they had to get an AI to voice HAL 9000 from A Space Odyssey or GLaDOS from Portal? It's called voice acting for a reason. What's also funny is that another excuse the developers made in using AI generated voices is that it's supposed to reflect the world's lore and the unsettling nature of its technology.
I'm going to scan your mind to ensure I can assist you in the best way possible. Your only duty to the human empire as a Raider is to harvest sonic matter.
Does this make you feel unsettled, viewer? Maybe it might make you feel unsettled when you realize the devs, who are real human beings supposedly, actually thought this was a good idea, and that if you don't like it, you should go to their dead Discord channel and record your own voice to replace the AI. Hooray, free labor. Anyways, rant over. Unimportant story things happen and we're told to go to the warp gate. Once you enter, you go ? Speeds. Wow, it's so Well, it looks pretty slow to be honest, and that's going to be a common theme in this game. It's slow. After waiting 30 seconds to reach our destination, we get some lore on these yellow cages. The Empire built them so space ghosts won't get in.
Leaders from the assaults of altars, ghost-like entities that feast on brainwaves. Stay away from them.
You scared yet, viewer? They're supposed to be the creepy part of the game. Space ghosts that eat brainwaves. Not brains, brain waves. Oh! Anyways, we're in a new area now and we have to activate the hub so we can unlock the station so we can buy stuff. What's the point of having to activate the hub instead of just being able to use the station from the start? Who knows? If it was a puzzle minigame, I can maybe understand the need to do that, but it isn't. So it's just a waste of time. You know, say what you will about Ubisoft Towers, at least they try to make it interesting to get up there. Anyways, in this hub, we have to buy a rocket launcher and equip it to our ship. Our ship comprises of a body that has a module capacity and a socket capacity. They don't tell you any of this, you just need to figure it out. You can add arms to the socket, which doesn't really do anything, it just moves the socket to the end of the arm. I guess it's there for aesthetic reasons, but nothing's stopping you from just equipping weapons and engines without an arm attachment. With our rocket, we now have access to right click, which fires the rocket. If you're locked on, it homes it on the enemy. Our next task has us kill Xenians or whatever to get sonic matter. These guys have a super special mechanic where if you're locked on, they don't have a lead indicator. Isn't that fun and quirky? Anyways, these guys exist so you have to use your rockets, that's it. Once you kill them, they drop the quest item. One thing you'll notice is that you have to get real close with objectives. You would think due to the vastness of space, how tiny you are and how fast you go, you would have some sort of vacuum range, you know, so you don't have to be too precise. Not this game though. If you want to pick stuff up, you basically have to be touching it. It's really annoying. Anyways, I kill enough guys to get the materials and we're told to drop it off at the transponder, all the way on the other side of the map, so let's go.
I find no recollections, no memories to assist in profiling you. All I see is a cell and a botched escape. Your last wish still lingers.
Any minute now. And we're here. The transponder is a place we can drop off sonic matter to get credits, so if you needed to make some quick cash, there you go. Also, you get some Empire faction points, which is what I assume this is. Why is it pointing down instead of up? Who knows? Here, we get some side quests. To be honest, after having played the game, don't bother with them. They just give money, with no unique rewards or reputation points, just money, which you don't even really need. I should also mention, even though Hell Galaxy says that they have RPG elements, there isn't. There is no leveling, no skill trees, hell, not even any character customization. There's nothing. There's just weapons and ship parts, and even then, not really. I guess they're counting the quests as an RPG mechanic. There is a few of them, but they all suck. Anyways, I decide to do them because I'm an idiot. Oh, also, you can only track one quest at a time. Awesome. I decide to do Deadly Biology and once again go to the other side of the map to upload something. After about a minute of flying, I get there and spot some ammo chests. Now, ammo in this game is not a physical thing you can store in your cargo hold. There's no stockpiling them, basically each secondary weapon has a cap, and you either need to pick up ammo in chests or restock them in a space station. But you can't go over the weapon limit. I know, it's dumb. Now, as you can see, I have 0 out of 5 rocket ammo. Oh, you can't see where it is? Oh, don't be silly. The ammo counter is obviously this tiny gray faded text. Obviously. I pick up 5 rocket ammo and now I have 0 out of 5. Yeah, did I mention the UI is really buggy? It only updates once I use up a rocket. $26 game, by the way. Anyways, now I have to interact with the terminal, and look how close I have to get to be able to interact with it. Not only that, you have to be looking at a specific spot too. It's ridiculous. Here we're introduced to the scanner, which scans your surroundings for any points of interest. Now when you use it, it looks like it has decent range, right? Like man, it scans really far out. Oh, if only it scanned this far away. But look real closely at the scanning tutorial that pops up. See how close they are to the points of interest? That's basically how close you have to be to even detect anything in this vast emptiness of space. So for this mission, we need to find 6 Xenian husks in this zone. And basically, you just have to spam the scanner until you're close enough just to be able to see it. That's it. That's the mission. Oh, and of course you need to pick it up while enemies bombard you. Is this fun? Does this look fun? If you think this is fun, good, because this is what the majority of missions are in this game. My favorite part of this mission is that the icons appear even without using the scanner, and then it remembers, wait, he hasn't used his scanner yet, and then disappears. Then you have to use the scanner to make it reappear. And if you just love this scanner gameplay, don't worry, because the icon will disappear after a few seconds, so you have to scan him again. Fucking gameplay. It really doesn't help that important or interactable objects blend into the environment. You can barely even see them. After spending way too much time trying to find these husks, I accidentally complete a different mission, which I believe was to kill Xenians, which obviously means the quest I'm currently tracking goes back to tracking the main quest. Like, holy, what is wrong with this game? I eventually find all 6, and you know what that means? Time to head on back to the other side of the map. I'll also mention there is no map in this game, not even a mini-map. So I hope you remember where everything is, because points of interest like stations or the transponder waypoints don't appear until you're really close by. I do another quest, which is to hand in 30 sonic matter, which I have, but I don't remember where the transponder is. The tracker doesn't track it, and it's not appearing as a waypoint. I basically had to retrace my steps and had to vaguely remember that it was a green glowy building. Can you spot it? It's right here. But wait, look how close you have to be for the marker to show up. Not even having your reticle on it makes it show up. Any second now. Almost. There it is at 3 kilometers. It finally shows up. I hand in the quest and do the final one for this map, which is to go to the EWAS dump. Another minute of flying around, we're told to kill some EWAS, who are people whose mind have been broken or whatever. It's not important or interesting. We get some more AI voices. And that's it. We beat the mission. I go to the shop, buy some new rockets and engines, and get a new mission. Now if you guessed that this mission would be to use your scanner to find points of interest while enemies attack you, then you would be correct. And if you then guessed that I said fuck this and decided to move on, then you would also be correct, because that's exactly what I did. Now let me take this time to point out that this speed measurement is completely lying to you. Take this gate to Prometheus, our next destination. Apparently it's 13 kilometers away. Our movement speed is 1,300 meters per second, or 1.3 kilometers per second. So if we divide 13 kilometers by 1.3 kilometers per second, it should only take us 10 seconds to get there, right? Well, let's see. Timer starts now. Oops, pause, just gotta make sure the reward for the previous quest wasn't worth it, and sure enough, it wasn't worth it. Okay, back to it. About a minute. 60 seconds. Yeah, that's significantly longer than 10 seconds. They can't even get the UI right. We enter the warp gate. It's much faster than the first one, and we get a cutscene.
We're losing power. Conducting systems check. This is perplexing.
Oh, look at that pop in. If you missed it, don't worry, there's more where that came from. And you know what? Let's watch this cutscene in its entirety because it's something else.
Desync. Error fixed. Apologies. That Colossus. We were fortunate. No, Waltz.
I love the part where all those spaceships that came out of nowhere died to rocks that hadn't loaded in yet. Are you scared, viewer? Ghost rocks! This game is a horror game. Anyways, we have to run away from the space ghosts that are trying to eat our brainwaves by hitting these speed rings, and let me tell you, the control during the stress drive speed mode is pretty much non-existent. Fun fact, in one of the negative reviews, someone claimed this section to be impossible. At least I think he's talking about this mission. I don't know. Could be a couple of missions, honestly. Anyways, I died once because I wondered if I could just fly directly there, and nope, the space ghosts got me. See, I wasn't kidding about the space ghosts. Are you scared yet? Also, something is off. After I reloaded the save, I noticed something shortly after spawning in. Did you notice it? Don't worry, I'll explain later. Anyways, after a lot of finagling with the controls during the high-speed action sequence and totally not crashing into things, I reach the end and activate a repulsor that, well, repulses the ghosts. What? Was it something I said? You're told when space ghosts attack you, this bar fills up. The higher it goes up, the more damage you do and take. You're told to cleanse yourself, then you're immediately told to infect yourself again in this cube, then cleanse yourself again. This is good game design. You're told to, once again, go to the other side of the map to the cage monitoring bay. I do another distance test to make sure I'm not hallucinating, and surprise, I wasn't. And I'm told that for the next quest, I won't be able to leave until it's done. Sure. I kiss the Imperial console since apparently that's how close I need to be to activate it, and get a cutscene where I leave the cage to do my objective. And here, I make a fatal error. See, I was, for some reason, actually listening to the AI voice that said I needed to activate the trigger units, which I go and do. But what I didn't see was that my current quest was to activate the repulsor first, even though I just got here and am ghost free. Why is this important? Because once you activate the proto repulsor, it then switches to the activate trigger objective. Now, can you see the issue here? The first checkbox isn't lit up. That's right, even though I activated it already, it doesn't count. I can't interact with the trigger anymore, so I'm just screwed. But I don't actually know that yet at this point in time. I keep looking around thinking, oh, maybe I need to do something else to activate it, so I start searching. This mission, by the way, is so annoying. You basically have 10 seconds before space ghosts start attacking you, in which you have to go back to the repulsor and activate it, and then you have to do it again, and again, and again. If you don't know where you're going, it's just constantly going back and forth. But did you also catch that it's another scan for POIs, activate a thing while enemies attack you? Such riveting mission design. This time, however, you're being attacked by raiders with AI voices that say 1 to 2 word sentences.
Poison hurts. Inhibit fire. Pain for you.
Spooky scary. I find another trigger and guess what? I can activate it, and the checkbox fills. And here is where it finally dawns on me. So I do the only thing I can think of. Load lost checkpoint. And you guessed it, it doesn't work because I activated it before the quest change, which is where the auto-saved happened. And at this point, I was just about ready to rage quit. This game is a buggy mess, everything about it sucks, and I had yet to find any redeemable qualities. I even went back to the main menu and found out that, Jesus Christ, even it became bugged. Listen, I tried. I even went to a website to edit the save file and put the value of the gate activator to 0 or off. And that still didn't work. So I just said, screw it. I started a new game. Yeah, that's right, mama ain't raised no bitch. I did it all again, making save files along the way since this game is stupid as fuck. I speedran all the way back, but not before I tested my theory. Now a little bit ago I asked if you noticed anything odd about this. Well, if you didn't notice, it's this, my Sonic whatever the fucks. If you remembered earlier, I handed that all in already, right before I did this mission. Now at first I thought, okay, maybe they just refunded it and it didn't count. Well, guess what? I was able to easily recreate it. After the tutorial quest to hand in the Sonic whatevers, I saved the game, then reloaded it, and sure enough, it kept my money and gave me back my Sonic whatevers. I found an infinite money glitch in the first couple hours of this game. What is this buggy garbage? And my ship's value is 1,337. This also counts as an Infinite Empire reputation glitch too. It's a 2-for-1 special. You're welcome, I said to no one, since I hope no one has bought and played this game. Anyways, I got up to where I left off, made a safety save, and continued the mission. After powering up the speed gates, your next task is to go to the other side of the map, needing to activate repulsors along the way because space ghosts. And you guessed it, scan for items, all while enemies attack you. How many is that now? Although this time there are turrets and raiders who speak in 1 to 2 word sentences attacking you at the same time. Oh my god, the innovation. Actually, there is one unique thing about this encounter. You see this dude? Watch what happens when I kill him. Want to see me do it again? It just works. I cannot stress enough just how annoying this space ghost mechanic is. Like, is this supposed to be scary? It's scarily bad is what it is. Anyways, after finding all the reactor cells, I finish the mission and have to find Old Joe. We slowly make our way to him and get introduced to a new weapon type, a laser gun. And wouldn't you know it, I find another bug. So these arms, you can attach guns or engines to them. All they really do is extend the body. But look what happens when I replace that arm that the laser gun is attached to with something else. If you guessed, deletes the attached thing, ding 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 ding, congratulations, you win! I did it again just to check. See, I have 2 recycled rocket mines, I replace one with a radarizer, and now I only have 1 recycled rocket mine. You see what I mean? I would have rather this game crash right from the get-go than deal with this. But silly me, I made safety saves so I could just, reload the save and continue on. Like an idiot. Also, if you were wondering about the ship customization, don't worry, there's basically none. New body types just increase stats. There's no specialness to them at all. There's no, this one is agile but stronger, or this one is slower and tankier. It's just, yeah, it has more power capacity, not even more slots, just more capacity. That's it. Oh, except for this one that has a green slot that none of your other equipment can fit in because it's a square slot. And all of the current equipment is triangle. Wish they told me about that mechanic before I bought it. Anyways, I used the new laser weapon. It does better against shields or whatever, and continue on. I go to a new area and they gave up on having the warp gate transition and just give me a loading screen. They give me another mission, and guess what it is? It's scanner time, baby! I go through the speed gates and crash. Of course, it wouldn't be an NFT game without a crash. Oh, this game uses Unreal Engine 5, of course it does! I load the game back up, click continue, and... wait, hold on. This isn't the right save? Why am I back here in the previous quest? Hold on. Let me just choose a different save. No, this one's even further back. What's going on? No, don't tell me. These new game saves, were these my previous saves? Did they get corrupted in the crash? Okay, what if I load it? Fuck this game! And that's Hell Galaxy. I despise this game. In 2.5 hours, I experienced a game-breaking quest bug, a crash that corrupted my saves, an infinite money glitch, ship item deletion glitch, numerous UI glitches, on top of shitty combat, a shitty story, a poor excuse to using AI-generated voices, 0 RPG elements, 0 ship customization, and the worst quest design known to mankind. This isn't an early access. It's not even a beta. It's a fucking alpha, an alpha test that they're charging money for. You know, I knew something was off when all the reviews, even the positive ones for this game, only have 3 to 5 hours, even though the developers swear that there's at least 20 hours of content. It's total bull. There's no content. Or maybe they're counting all the time spent going back and forth, flying in a straight line for minutes at a time. And that would be fine since it's a space game. That's part of the appeal. But nothing happens during travel. All of the events, all of the quests, all of the enemies are found in their very specific areas around the zone. There's no random events that happen while you're flying around, not even other ships. There's completely nothing. They're at version 0.8.299 at the time of recording, with plans on getting a full release out sometime in July of this year. Like, this is unacceptable. This costs $26 and is going to get more expensive when it reaches 1.0. It's been in development for over 5 years since this is building off of Haunted Space and raised over $2.4 million. This game sucks, and the developers are fucking crypto scammers. Well, what a return, eh? We got a battle royale game that no one's playing and is completely busted, a decent space game that no longer has NFTs but the developers still is into crypto crap and NFT nonsense, and another space game developer that's also still into crypto but has the dubious honor of making me actually rage at a video game. Good job! Anyways, hope all of you guys are enjoying the new year. Hope you're enjoying it more than I am. But we're back, eh? Another year. Hopefully this is the year that NFTs finally start dying off. There actually have been a couple of NFT games I've covered on the series that have shut down, which is good news. But maybe I'll talk about it in a later episode. But for now, thank you to my channel members, XP, Dan, and Not My Name for sticking by me even though I upload really slowly. It really means a lot that you're willing to throw money my way. It really helps keeps the videos a-rolling. And of course, to all my subscribers, watching that number go up really activates the old neurons. And for everyone else, I hope you didn't hate the video, but that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, even the parts where I raged and ranted. Leave a like and a sub if you did, and I'll catch ya on the next one. See ya!